Welcome back to Starcastic Remarks alongside James and Chris. My name is Ryan. We are the Chambers Brothers of Starcastic Remarks. Thank you to DraftKings Sportsbook for being our sponsor. Go and use that promo code THPN. Thanks to them for doing that. This was a weird one. We've been talking about this for weeks, gentlemen. Then the fact that we had this week circled on the calendar for the Dallas Stars, and they pull out two really, really solid wins. They get the win tonight, 9-2 over the Nashville Predators. No, that's not crazy. It is literally the score of the game tonight. How are y'all doing tonight on this fine evening?
I don't know if I've ever watched a hockey game where it ended in the first 10 minutes. That was shocking.
Yeah, that's a tough one to watch.
Yeah, for the Preds standpoint, that first period might have been the worst I've ever seen an NHL hockey team play. And the Predators are one spot out of the playoffs. This isn't like this is a bottom feeder team. They have just hit a wall. It is crazy how bad they played tonight. The Stars played great. They took advantage of it. The Stars probably would have won this game even if the Preds were playing good. But boy, howdy, that was an awful hockey team on the other side.
This Preds team was the first wild card spot for a long, long time in the West. And you're hoping after the All-Star break, it started to turn sour a little early on. You're hoping after the All-Star break, they can turn it back around, and they have just fallen further and further in the wrong direction.
Yeah, that first period was some of the laziest hockey I've seen.
If they weren't selling before this game, they definitely are now.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Definitely feels like it after that game. That game, it was tough to watch because I hate the Predators, but like they didn't even make it hard on us. It didn't feel like all of the goals in the first period were off the rush. It was bad defense left and right. I mean, and I don't blame Saros at all. I mean, honest, maybe some of the goals, maybe one or two of them, but they weren't. It's not like they were just like little slap shots like Rope Hintz's the other night. It was atrocious team defense from the Nashville Predators.
And on the other end, the Stars were executing all night long. I mean, even in that first period, some of the defense was great. We were up 4-0, and we were back checking super hard on odd man rushes the other way. I thought it was like surprisingly good play for how poor their opponent was doing, actually. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the big thing for me is after that first period, the Predators had one shot on goal, and we had like 8 or 9 block shots.
Yeah. That shows that the Stars were just playing good too. I mean, definitely. I mean, we'll call this out now since the chat has already called out a million times. The moms, they put on a show for them. They wanted to, and man, makes you play hard when your mom's watching out there. She sacrificed a lot. You better play hard, even if you're up 4-0.
One of those moms that was on the trip today was Mommy Duchesne for the first time apparently in Duchesne's career.
Didn't like that.
Yeah, but it just kind of made sense that he kind of gets the 2 goals tonight. Like we've seen him set up Marchment and Sagan like crazy, and then he gets set up for 2 tonight. And good for him and his old hometown, or not old hometown, his old team, and then with his mom in attendance as well. That's just cool for him.
And he was screaming after that first goal. He was ecstatic to get that one.
Yeah, that was some happiness right there.
I'm sorry, I'm kind of getting distracted by Twitter a little bit, but I'd like to enter this into evidence as Exhibit A. Didn't give up 10 goals to Dallas at a Nashville banner.
I heard that on the post game, the one man crew and the analytics side, but he was like, at least you didn't give up 10 goals. You got that going for you. I was like, oof.
Yeah, I mean, they only had one desk person tonight, but he had some really tough tips on him. I mean, after the first intermission, he's like, they might be sellers at this intermission. That was great.
He was going after him.
Spicy all night long.
Yeah. But, I mean, we kind of talked about Duchesne a little bit already, but there's so many different directions we could talk about with this team. But the first thing I kind of want to touch on, and I touched on it a little bit, was just the fact that the Stars have answered the bell. We have been getting onto them, and you know what? Maybe they heard us, and they're like, we're going to shut these guys up and tell them to shut up.
Yep. That's
I
definitely
have
what happened.
nothing really bad to say about this team tonight. There's a couple of instances, but I mean, how can you be upset when you're up by 7-0 or 7-2 or 9-2 or whatever, and you make one
This
mistake?
is
Oh, okay, great.
this is really one of those games that you have to, as a fan, don't look too hard into it, because yes, we played good. Don't count on this. This was a very poor performance from Nashville, and it is a normal executing team from the Stars. I mean, it is how this team is built. They are built to just skill and score when they need to, and they just did it every time tonight. And Nashville gave us a ton of chances.
Yeah. Yeah. Stars execute, like you said. We didn't do anything crazy special, but when the Stars are executing and they're playing a team that is, I mean, right now, this is the worst team in the NHL. That's what's going to happen right there.
2-6-2 in their last 10 games. The Nashville Predators are so. Lots of teams in the Central Division just kind of on the downward spiral right now with them, Winnipeg, and then maybe Colorado seems to kind of be getting out of the depths down there, but
they lost again tonight. I mean, they've been, everyone in the Centrals has been having a tough time, besides the Stars, honestly.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Stars finally get their first little gap there in the top of this division. 4-point lead right now with a game in hand still.
yeah, I think that was Mato who mentioned that first over there in the chat. Got to give him credit for that. But that is a big point too, Chris, and the fact that you know we. And I'll be honest, I have been probably a little bit too hard on the Stars, just from a wanting them to be dominant kind of way, if that makes any sense. Like, this is what I want to see from the Stars in playing teams that are much more inferior than they are. Now, I didn't expect this kind of, dominance tonight from them, but they took care of business. And, this is the kind of thing that I like to see from the Stars when they play the Sharks, the Blackhawks, the Canadians, the Sabres. And like against the Sabres and the Canadians, yeah, we kind of won those games, but we just didn't win it in a way that we wanted to. Buffalo, we played terrible, and Otter is the only reason why we won that game. And then just with Montreal, just gave up too many odd man rushes. But you know what? At the end of the day, they're making me eat my words. They're still getting points when they need to, and now they're even shoving all my words down my throat and saying, "Hey, we're taking care of business now, even against the good teams and against the teams that we should be beating."
Well, the other thing is, it's not like they weren't taking care of business against the teams that they should be beating. They're still consistently beating them. They're not blowing them out, but I mean, they are consistently winning those games. Those have not been problems for the Stars at all this season. The only thing that you might be able to argue a little bit is those big games against Vegas, Colorado. Not even just the better teams. It's the big emotional games too, the ones that you kind of circle. This Edmonton one on Saturday, I feel like even though it's a matinee, that's kind of one of them. That's a measuring stick. This road trip coming up definitely is that. This is the toughest road trip the Stars are going to go on. So here's some big emotional games coming up. These games are the ones I'm excited to see how the Stars respond, how they answer, and it'll be fun to see them play against some really top talent consistently and see how they look.
Yeah, and you look just at the Stars' recent schedule. I think their last 16 is something like 12-3-1. They put that up on the broadcast, and that is ridiculous for how bad the losses have felt in that stretch.
Yep.
And that's a good point. That's a very good point, James. It also makes me feel more appreciative of the way the Stars have been able to get points consistently, even though their play has not been consistent, in my opinion. We haven't really gone down a giant spiral like we're seeing some of these other teams do. Like, there might be a stretch where we're kind of NHL 500 and might have a couple of overtime losses there, like, 5-5-2 in the last 12 or whatever, something like that. But we've never had an instance this season where we've gone, for example, 2-6-2 like the Preds are right now in their last 10 games. So yeah, the Stars haven't been going on giant win streaks like the Edmonton Oilers or like the Devils did a couple years ago, but it's still nice to see, and it makes me especially kind of eat my words a little bit again and make me more appreciative of how well this team has played.
And honestly, I think that shows that this team is an actual good team too. I mean, you see Edmonton go on these crazy win losses, like they can obviously get hot, and it really relies on their top two players. The Stars are a consistent team. like you said, maybe not in the way that they play, but it's spread out so much that one line can be good one night and that can get them the win. And different line can be good a different night. That can get them a win. There's a lot of different ways this hockey team can win. And that's why they're able to consistently get points and why they haven't gone on a big losing streak, because we're not relying on one line like we were a while ago. We're not relying on one line like a lot of hockey teams are right now in the NHL. This is a team that can score in every way.
Yeah. And really the main idea of what Ryan was talking about with we beat the teams we're supposed to. I look at the Maple Leafs for that heavily. I mean, they lost both their games against the Blackhawks of all teams this year. They've lost 3 of their games against the Senators. They have had awful performances in front of their own fans against some of the weakest teams in the league. And you just don't see that from the Stars. That just doesn't happen normally.
What's crazy, James, is that I was watching one of Steve Dangle's videos after they beat the Stars, and their record against the Central Division's like 8-3-2 or something like that, and 2 of those 5 losses are to the Blackhawks.
Yeah, like that's what I'm talking about. Like
it's weird.
The Leafs are so good; they have so many good players on that team, but they consistently lose to the worst teams in the league.
And the Stars have not done that, thankfully. And again, maybe not in the way that I want them to, but I'm going to shut up tonight about that, because and maybe I need to shut up about that for a good long while until we see the Stars go on a actual losing streak, like a legit losing streak, like 4 or 5 games, which, we're in middle of February and we haven't seen it. We haven't seen it yet.
And we haven't seen a winning streak either. I mean, imagine this team goes on a win streak. You could win a President's Trophy.
That's true. How far down are we from the Canucks? Do one of y'all have the standings up?
The Canucks are taking off right now. Canucks are at 78. We're at 74. So we're 4 points away, but
4 points away is what everyone is from the Canucks right now. There are 3 teams in second place right now.
3 teams, yeah. But they just feel untouchable. They're not getting any worse.
That's true. Okay, moving on to a couple of other things, because there's lots to talk about with this game. Not a fun thing to talk about. It's a really sad thing to talk about. Nils Lundkvist, he goes out, has only 2 shifts in the game, comes back that he's out with an upper body injury. I don't know about you guys, but it looked like a concussion, kind of. It looked like it wasn't a predatory hit, but it looked like it was an elbow to the head, and the way that he fell, it didn't look good. And man, that really sucks. I was really rooting for Nils Lundkvist. He was starting to seem like he was starting to get some consistency to his game and starting to do a little bit better with Miro in the lineup. And then that happens. I mean, just what are y'all's thoughts about either his injury and what happened in the game tonight with that, or maybe the fallout from this and what we'll see here in the next couple of days?
I mean, for the Stars, anytime a defenseman gets injured, we should be terrified. We don't have very many of them. So
especially when you talk about that's one of our 2 right-handed defensemen too. I mean, Hanley's going to have to come up, and he's going to have to play on his offside, which he's done before, and he's not going to look great at it. We know that, but someone who can play in the NHL, who's played there before, we got to get like 12 minutes out of him a night. And you're probably going to see Miro shoot back up to 26 minutes a night, is what I'm guessing.
And maybe this will speed up the process of trying to find a defenseman for the Stars. Maybe we get a little bit before the trade deadline if Nils is actually out for an extended period of time. Who knows?
We'll see what happens with the fallout from that. But seriously, just the word that comes to my mind is it just sucks for him. Seriously, like
especially in a game like this, it sucks.
Yes, right, exactly. And in a game that, like you said, it was like after the first 10 minutes, the game was over. This is not a game you want to lose somebody like this in. So hopefully he's okay, and we'll see what the injury result is from the doctors. Maybe even tonight. Maybe Pete DeBoer will give an update for him, but I doubt we see something tonight. Yeah, you keep looking, Chris. But more than likely, I'm sure we'll see something at the latest by tomorrow evening. Okay, moving on to Duchesne's return to Nashville. Not the first time, but still fantastic game for him. He goes out there and gets a goal. Craig Smith, former Predator as well, gets a goal. And then, of course, just because it has to happen, Dennis Gurianov happens to be in the lineup. And the crazy thing is, and how desperate the Predators were to try and play better, he was up on the top line with Ryan O'Reilly and Philip Forsberg starting in the second period. So just a couple of cross-team old buddies kind of thing going on. What did you see from either of those three guys tonight?
Yeah, I mean, they played great. I don't know what to say. The other team did not look good, and they scored when they needed to. I mean, it's especially nice for Duchesne to score there, because he did look kind of rough in his first outing in Nashville, and he said that on an interview. He said he was a little shaky, but this time he said he felt nice and he felt ready to go. And they were just, the second line was all over the ice tonight, and first line didn't even need to show up to the rink. We probably could have played with 3 lines and still won this, like 4-2.
And man, Sagi almost got Duchesne the Hattie too. I mean, it was a great pass. He just couldn't put a stick on it.
Did you see Duchesne turn around straight at Sagan?
He was sorry.
He smirked. He was like, "Dang it, man!" So, okay, moving on from that. Even Brooke over here with kind of one of my next thoughts. Smart of Ben not to engage with the fight. So, I don't know how you guys feel about the hits. I honestly didn't think it was that bad. Maybe y'all have a different opinion on it.
It was a normal board. I mean, it was a penalty, but other than that, it's not.
I wasn't even sure if it was even a penalty, to be honest with you.
The tough thing is he technically comes from behind, even though the dude knew he was coming. The defenseman put himself in a very, very poor position. And even 4 or 5 years ago, that's probably not called, just because you're still looking at the defenseman to be smarter than that. But the only thing that I think you could argue is he still hit him into the glass. It was just far enough away from the boards that it was tough.
I think it was also a game management kind of thing too. Been through a big hit, kind of from behind, kind of into the boards in a game that was over. So they're just like, whatever, let's get rid of it. But I liked Ben not fighting there too. Who cares? I mean, we don't care about the Predators. They're not going to be a problem in the future. Doesn't matter. And I'm glad that the guy who went after him just full ham and just sucker punched him got the double. So that was kind of justice, I think, too, and helped shut down the games. I thought the refs actually did a good job of keeping a lid on this when it didn't need to get hot. You know what I mean?
Our brother Zach over in the chat. Hit was meh. Fight was stupid. Guy didn't even challenge Ben. Just cheap shotted him.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't even grab him, getting his attention. He just sucker punched him. Like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. But I love Jamie Benn so much. I know he's not the same Jamie Benn, but it is. I'm not joking. It is the greatest thing as a Dallas Stars fan to watch something like that, which he does every once in a while now. Not as much as he used to again, but just to see the gleam in his face and how much he smiles when he
gets way too happy.
He's getting punched and cheap shotted in the face, and he's just sitting there, just taking it, smiling away. I'm just like, okay.
What a crazy guy.
And again, it was smart for him not to engage in that fight. The game was over. This is not something you want to, get yourself hurt on. And as inconsequential as Ben has been this year in the offensive side of the game, he is still very much an important figure of this team when it comes to the leadership of this team. Obviously, he is the captain. He will be as long as he's a member of this team. So,
and it's not like
he's important in that way.
It's not like his goals have fully dried up either. I mean, we just had heightened expectations after what he did last year. If he did what he's doing this year last year, we still would have said, hey, Ben had a better year. It's just our expectations are kind of shifted, and he just passed the torch back to Sagan. So Sagan's getting his chance this year. So yeah, it's working out for him. They're doing what we need them to do at this point in their careers. So,
and part of how a lot of that ends up working out is just everyone scoring more too. Ben took a half step back, and the rest of the team took an entire step forward. like
Yep.
everyone, just
Agreed.
out of virtue of having more people who can put the puck in the back of the net.
Speaking of people who can put the puck in the back of the net, Delhi
Yeah.
finally.
Yeah, I know. Like, he had
I'm
3
honestly
chances
mad at him.
today. You're honestly mad at him.
And the way he scored was just brute force and ignorance. He's like, you know what? There's a puck right there. I'm gonna smack it, and he smacked it, and it was a great shot. Right, cookie jar. It was out before it was even in. It seemed like what a shot.
Except the game was already 7-2 at the time.
Nope,
Can you
it was
score when
great.
it matters, please?
Who cares?
Watch it.
Who
Game-winning goal
cares?
on Saturday. I'm calling
I hope
it.
so.
Okay, the only thing I remember is the fact that Delhi had 2 goals in a very, very key playoff game last season. So that's what I'll keep pointing back to for Delandria. But that bomb that he had, it felt like the equivalence of, like, when you're really mad and you're bowling and it just nothing seems to be working, so you're just gonna take the ball and just chunk it down the lane and just see what happens, and you
I
happen to
bowl
get a
quite
strike.
often.
That's what it seems like to me. That's what it felt like. He was just
Well, he gets the 2 assists tonight too, and him, Johnson, and Ben look great all night long. And that line, probably, if we had to say one line was underwhelming for us this year, we'd say that one. And they're clicking right now. They look good.
Yeah, and hopefully this gets Delhi actually scoring, because if Delhi can score on this line, this could turn into one of our best lines, really. Because
break the seal.
Advanced analytics loves this line. It's just
It does.
Delhi doesn't score, so it's tough.
another line I want to give a shout out to, that 4th line tonight, man. I mean, they were one of the best lines for the Stars tonight, if not the best line for the Stars. They got 3, or the bottom 6, I should say, got 3 of the 4 goals in the first period, and the 4th line got 2 of the 4 in the first period. So I thought they played excellent, and I actually wrote down in my notes, it felt like in the first 2 periods that they were just spending every shift in the offensive zone. It just felt like it. I know they didn't, but like it definitely felt like that through the first 40 minutes.
I mean, every line played pretty much every shift in the offensive zone that period.
I'm trying to wrap things up because I know we're already getting close to time, but I mean, special teams, complete difference from what we've seen lately. And
Too bad the game
was
was over when both of those happened.
Hey, who cares? We'll pad the stats, man.
Yeah, I was happy with the
2.
penalty kill, honestly. Yeah,
that's what I was.
Keeps looking better. I mean, we had the bed pooper about a week ago now, so it feels good it feels normal again,
Dallas 2 for 3 on the power play. That was very nice. Johnston and help me out. Who was the other one? Sagan. Thank you.
First power play goal for Sagan.
Oh yeah, that's true. I think I saw his face, and I think that's what he was kind of. He was like,
yeah,
he was
looked
shocked.
to the rafters.
He's like, wow, I scored a power play goal. I think that's amazing. It was fun to watch. Just some stats for you, because my gosh, it's all over the place. Delandre with a goal and 2 assists. Duchesne with 2 goals. Harley with an assist. Heiskanen with the goal. Johnston with a 4-point night. 2 goals, 2 assists. Marchment with 2 assists. Robo with an assist. Sagan with a goal and 2 helpers. Smith with a goal. Steele with the goal. And I mean, it's just all over the place. Even Ryan Suter got 2 assists tonight. So it was just all over the place when it comes to stats for the Dallas Stars tonight.
Suter actually had a really good game tonight. Like, even defensively, he had some.
I agree.
Good plays.
I think you could look at the time on ice and argue.
Yeah, we needed him after Lundqvist went down too. I mean,
Yep.
every defenseman played 20 minutes tonight, which that happens when you are only playing with 5. But they all played decently well, and I think Miro ended up playing the least out of the 5 of them.
I was going to mention W to Pete DeBoer, resting Heiskanen at least a little bit more than usual. And then also, I like taking Otter out when the game is over and we're expecting him to play Saturday and a matinee. He's only got kind of a day and a half, a little bit less than you normally get on a break there. I like it. I mean, we need as many hours saved for Otter. We need to learn our lesson from last year. So I like it.
Especially when you know the shutout bid's already gone. I mean, it was gone early, so you don't even entertain.
Yeah, if the shutout bid's going, I'd say I wouldn't like it. But when it's already gone, the game's over. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, just like a no-hitter in baseball. You don't take the pitcher out if he's got the no-hitter going. You leave him
Yeah.
in.
Yep.
Now and maybe this is unfair for me to say this, but just because the game was insane and I was just trying to look at
Find
it a little
something.
bit more in depth just to find something to kind of discuss and kind of dissect. What did y'all think about Thomas Harley's play tonight? Because there was about
It
3 or
was
4 instances that I thought were kind of rough.
it
Especially the
was
second goal, that was all him, turnover in his own zone.
Yeah, it was rough. I think it came off the boards really weird on that one, but he handled it very poorly and didn't help us out at all. And it's been like that for a couple of games now. He's
Yep.
made some pretty poor plays, but just the amount that he still does, even when he's making those mistakes, is worth playing him as much as we still are. So I think we're finally starting to see some of the rookie like mistakes creep back into his game a little bit. That'll go away as he plays more, but I don't have a problem with it for the most part when he does so much good.
And we gotta be consistent when we say that because we said the same thing about Marchment, right? It's like although he's actually been pretty good defensively. I can't
That's
think of
true.
He's
anything in the
been
past couple of months
he's
that have been bad. So,
Penalties are
he's
but like,
down. His defense is better.
right,
it's
and
really his back checking for me too.
Yeah, it's his back checking
yeah,
more than the cycle defense for sure. It's just he just cares more.
Mhm.
and that's the thing I think we need to keep consistent about, and the fact that yeah, he's gonna have some issues, but you know that all the good stuff that he does, he's able to get the puck out of the zone really well. The two of those guys together, Heiskanen and Harley. I know Miro is still playing on his offside and everything like that, but they seem to complement each other really well. And they even talked about on the ESPN Plus broadcast that it, like those two guys together look like one of the most elite pairings in the NHL.
Yeah.
And yeah, again,
In
it's a short sample size, but still, it gets you excited.
in in goals for per 60 minutes, I think they're like second on that list.
Second. Hmm.
Which if you want to talk about a crazy stat, the pairing that's third has played almost 800 minutes together, and that's Hughes and Hronik on the Canucks.
That's
So that's
stupid.
insane. But among everyone else, they are pretty much there by themselves.
And Otter scared me, by the way. That first period little gaff that he had, he never does that. He never does that. He
I
never
don't know
passes it
why
in the middle of
he.
the ice. And I was like, I know you're bored, man, but like, come on, don't do that.
I mean, that was when I knew that like the Preds just weren't showing up at all because it was wide open and they still didn't score on it.
Miro got to it first, yeah. So okay, I think that's everything that I can think of off the top of my head.
The
Anything else?
the only other thing that I wanted to point out was block shots were still at 18 tonight in a game that we were winning by 4 goals pretty much the whole time. And that is something that's like you are committing to playing for your goaltender, even in a game like this, where you are just scoring and scoring and scoring. It doesn't matter how much the other team's going to score, you're going to score more. But laying down the body in a game like this is a big mindset change even from before the All-Star break. I mean, we always lost block shots in on the stat sheet before, and it feels like recently we are consistently winning that. And we won it tonight when we shot like 12 more times on net.
And there's lots of other things to be happy about with this team too. And that's an interesting stat, James, because I feel like over the last couple of games that the block shots have been higher than they have for the season average for the Stars. I would bet money on that. Maybe the last 4 or 5 games that we've seen the Stars do that, and it's no coincidence that the Stars have a winning record in those 5 games. So, okay, biggest winner, biggest loser.
Wyatt Johnston,
Yeah.
4 points. That's crazy. I love it.
I'll give mine to Duchesne just for the first goal more than anything. I mean, he was so happy to score that first goal.
I'll give mine to Sam Steele. He's very very slowly starting to become my new Jason Dickinson, like the guy that is not the superstar on the team, but that just does. He seems to do really well, and he's
But still
extremely
scores.
underrated.
True.
He does. Well,
mean-
Jason
I
Dickinson is
mean-
scoring this year at least.
Yeah, he can't score in
Dickinson's
green.
scoring.
Yeah, he's got
It's
like
true.
15, 16 goals. Weird.
My
Crazy.
biggest loser
So
is
many.
Harley. I was actually going to mention, even before you brought it up, Ryan, I thought he had a surprisingly rough night. His last 3 games, he's had some pretty atrocious turnovers. Hopefully he can get that figured out and nipped in the bud. I'm really hoping it's not just a rookie getting tired in his first full NHL season type of thing. That could be a problem, but keep an eye on it as we go forward.
It's definitely starting to look like that as you hit the 54 game mark. Exactly.
Yep. Weird.
I think I'm gonna
Mm.
give mine not as obviously I played a minute and a half, but it just really just the wrong it feels like he was just starting to play well, and I really feel for him right now. So yeah, biggest loser tonight, just because it looks like he's gonna be out for a while. That's just my guess. Okay,
I'll give mine to Rope Hens because how dare he take a night off? -1 on the ice, no points, and
Trash.
Pavelski too.
50% on the dot. Terrible. Can't believe he
Scratch him.
Yeah, deserves it.
The amount of times that he has that top line has been so dominant for the Stars the last 3.5 years, he's allowed to take tonight off.
Yeah,
I mean,
just wait until
especially-
Saturday, boys. First line's gonna win it for us.
Especially
They
when,
saved
like,
it.
yeah,
90
right, yeah.
Especially when like 95% of our wins he is factored in some way on the score sheet.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Well, we got another set of games coming up here.
Do we?
The Oilers at home on Saturday, excuse me. That's going to be a really big test and a big measuring stick for the Dallas Stars. Let's hope they continue riding this momentum that they've got. And then they've got a scary, dangerous, sucky back-to-back on Monday, Tuesday with the Bruins at noon on President's Day. And then the very next day, they turn around and play the Rangers. So that's a tough couple of games coming
That's
up.
tough.
But you know what? Gotta love to see it. Gotta love to see it. And it's making me feel a lot better about this team. And the stupid hockey guy can finally put the Stars back up on his power rankings.
Ryan is hockey guy, man. I'm getting sick of
it. I'm sorry. I love the guy. He's got. I watch his content every day. All right. Anything else, gentlemen?
No.
No. Okay. Go and check out StarcastRickRemarks.com for all the latest info from our podcast. That's the first place and the quickest way you can listen to our episodes as they get uploaded to the internet. Thank you to DraftKings Sportsbook for being our sponsor. Use that promo code THPN. Those of you that are listening live, you have about 18. We had as many as 25 at one point. That's really cool to see. There's many more of you that are listening afterwards. We thank you. We appreciate it. We do not take it for granted. And we love all of y'all for being along with this ride with us and being crazy super fans as we are. Along with Chris and along with James, my name is Ryan. We will catch you guys on the flip side. Hope you guys have a good, fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you guys are listening. Chris, do us a favor and take us out, please.
Mommy? GG, boys.